Hey there, and welcome to the A.D.K Rock and Metal channel. I'm here today with Dave Edwards from the band Trojan. Welcome to the channel.
Welcome, mate. Hello, good to meet you. Yes.
I take it is now just called Trojan, not Trojan/Talion. Have we dropped it down to just Trojan now?
We're sticking with Trojan now because that seems to be the more popular thing to do. Trojan to Lion is a little bit confusing for a few people.
Yeah.
Why are you Trojan? Are you to Lion? What's the deal there?
So yeah, I had that same question when I saw it. I was like, what's happening?
Yeah, Trojan's got a good following still in Europe, as we've been finding out, and so because of that reason, we thought if we drop the to Lion bit, the Trojan is more popular, more well known, and it's better for us going forward.
Right.
So that's the main reason of doing it that way. Yeah. We were billed as Trojan to Lion for two festivals that we've played over in Europe already, which we'll probably touch on in a bit, I imagine, with what happened, why we came back and all that. So that's why we were kind of going with Trojan to Lion, because it just was fitting in nicely for us playing stuff off both the albums, and we were getting billed as that, and it was working okay. But to go forward, it makes more sense just to stick as Trojan.
Yeah,
because it's a more well-known name. A lot of people over there we were finding knew a lot of the songs off the Trojan stuff. When it comes to the Lion stuff, they knew it, but not as well as they knew the Trojan stuff.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
It was like, there's a connection here with Trojan. We've got to go that way. We've got to do it that way. So that's why we stuck with that.
Because you've been with the band since what, last year was it?
Yeah, last year. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Pete first rang me back up again probably about June, July or something like that last year, and told me what was going on. I was like, this sounds quite interesting. We could see what happens there. And we started rehearsals in September of last year. We're rehearsing songs from both the Lion and the Trojan albums. And with the thing for it was to play Keep It True Festival in Germany.
Right.
So we got a set list together for the Keep It True, which was just shy of an hour, 50 minutes, I think it was. And that was what we were rehearsing for. We did the Keep It True Festival, which was streamed, and you can see it on YouTube if anybody would like to have a look at it.
Definitely.
And then, believe it or not, on June the 3rd, we ended up back over in Europe again. We're in Sweden playing the Muscle Rock Festival, because we got asked, somebody had dropped out apparently. Pete had been inquiring for next year's, and He sent the EPKs off, and they straight away came back and just said, can you do this year's? And we were like, yeah, why not? So we went over and did the Muscle Rock Festival in Sweden, which was a really good festival, little outdoor festival, and everything went really well. It was good.
Yeah. So what's to help us out? So what's your background? I mean, how long have you been doing music yourself? What other projects have you done before you did obviously work with the Trojan lads?
Before I got involved, years ago, I was just played drums for about 30 odd years now. Tried to get about with bands, done original bands in the past. Never really got anywhere. I ended up joining a band from Surrey called Shadowkeep.
Okay.
We got signed to EMP again from Germany, and we went over, toured Belgium, Holland, France, and we supported Rob Alford in France on his Resurrection tour, and we supported Ronnie James Dio in Belgium on a Magica tour over there in Belgium. I did the first album with them, and then they decided, because I was too vocal and wanted to do various things with them, you're saying too much here, and we don't like that. So me and the bass player got told they didn't want us any longer. So I then left the band. Well, let's say prior to all that, I was working with Pete Wadeson, again from Trojan, I'm a guitarist, with the Metal for Mothers album. We put a track down called Thriller to Chase, which is an instrumental that went on Metal for Mothers 92. That was done by A.D.K, the guy from Iron Maiden who did the Soundhouse tapes, Metal for Mothers and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my connection with Pete. I did the Shadow Keep later on, which was about 1999. And then when the Shadow Keep thing fell apart, I did a band that was a bit more like Pantera, a bit leaning nearer towards what we're doing now. We were called 7 Years Dead. We played up and down the country, tried to get an album deal, and nothing ever came of it. So I then went on into the tribute scene, playing Thin Lizzy, and then when Pete gave me a shout, I was like, "Yeah, let's go for it, Pete. Let's have a go and see how we get on." Yeah. So this is where we're at now. Yeah.
Because it's really interesting. Obviously, I was listening back to the Trojan. So we had, what was it? We have Chasing the Storm 1985, and then the Italian album Killing the World in 1989.
Mm-hmm.
And really kind of very much the classic thrash sounds, with a bit of new wave of British heavy metal thrown in for good measure as well.
Yeah.
But what's really interesting for me is now when they formed when the original lineup of Trojan formed back in 1982, I was 4 years old. So I was probably not going to be that really understanding what was happening around me at the time. But when I really got into rock and metal would have been late 80s, when I was probably about 12, 13, got into metal. And I always kind of saw thrash metal as an American stylization of music, of the rock genre.
Yeah,
it was always the big bands, the Metallicas, your Anthraxes. And the UK, we did new wave of British heavy metal, and we did classic rock. We had the Thunders, the White Snakes, and we had, and then we had obviously the traditional Black Sabbaths, but then we had the Iron Maidens and White Witch and stuff like that. But I never really saw thrash, and it's actually a very odd. When I started looking down the scene of who were the classic thrash bands of the UK, I don't actually recognise any of the names.
No,
it's really odd that thrash was never really something that was homegrown in this country. And I'm just wondering, was that a case of it was the wrong style genre for someone like Trojan to do at the time, was to really go against the scene? Because if they'd done more of a classic new wave of British heavy metal, would that have helped them? Because I don't know.
I'm not really sure. I know Pete was into all these things like UFO and Thin Lizzy and all them kind of bands. Gary Moore was one of his favourite guitarists and all that. But he also liked that heavier edge sound to what he was listening to at the time. Say bands like Metallica were coming out and various bands like that. But Pete was getting into all that, and that's why he liked the power speed metal type stuff. It is lumbered in with the new wave of British heavy metal. It does have some of that edge to it, but it also has that more speed metal edge as well. So it's nice to be still classed as a new wave of British heavy metal band, but we also would like it to be known as a bit more of a speed metal as well, really.
Well, the closest when I heard Chasing the Storm, the first thing I thought of was Life's a Bitch by Raven. Was the album that one straight away came to head, which was a great album by Raven, and that was one of my first early kind of thrashy metal albums with Break a Window. And I remember listening to this one and just thinking, wow, vocally this is also going very much down a Raven style of speed thrash vocal.
He's a bit like that, isn't he?
Which is quite interesting. But it was very odd to hear about it then, because going from the early stages, I know it's listed that Talion wasn't put in the same thing as Trojan. Trojan was a separate band and Talion was a new band, but obviously they've now kind of been pushed together as a single unit. But to go from 82 through to effectively 1989, release the album, and then effectively disband, and then not do anything for effectively 30 years.
It's a bit mad, isn't
That's the weirdest thing I've found. Was just because there wasn't any other. I couldn't really find any information about any previous comebacks, any previous touring. It just felt like there was 30 years, and then we went, yeah, do you know what? Let's just get the band back together again.
Yeah.
So how did the band reforming come about? What was the decision making?
Yeah, the reform thing came about. I don't know whether it was Pete that did it or not, but Sonic Age Records in Greece decided to reissue the two albums. There was one or two record companies being interested, and Pete went and said to Sonic Age, "We like what you're offering. You want to reissue the two albums? It'd be great, you know." And Sonic Age, Pete had said to him about the Keep It True festival. I noticed a lot of the bands that you've had reissues with have been playing at Keep It True. Can we do Keep It True via you know, can you get us on type of thing? And they said, yeah, all our bands end up on the Keep It True festival. And that straight away was like, we want to do Keep It True. So let's get the band together again and let's do something. So that's where they went trying to get the original lineup back together. The Talion members, the other two members just weren't really interested, to be honest. The lives have changed, so they decided it's not for them. So that's when Pete said to me, he said, he said to Graham, I've worked with this guy before, myself, and he said, I'll give him a shout. He's our man. If he's up for it, it'll be great. And as it happened, Graham knew Steve, our bass player, and he said, I've got the man for the bass as well. So we got together. Pete said, start learning this, and this. We got in the rehearsal room, and of course, when your first rehearsals, it's like, fingers crossed, this is going to sound okay. And we got through it, and we knew there was a basis there to progress with it. And it's all going quite nicely now, to the point where we're even writing new tunes.
So that was going to be my next question, because after 30 years, you'd either think you've either got a huge quantity of backed up riffs, or you would probably never. Pete was probably not sitting there thinking, "Well, I'm going to be writing Trojan stuff again." But because you get that first when you're younger to try and write new music and release new albums and stuff like that. But now at this sort of, I was going to ask the question: are you thinking about maybe recording some new stuff and putting it out there, or are you going to just kind of go out on the nostalgia train and play some shows on the back of the previous albums? What's the kind of plan for the band?
The plan now is we've started rehearsing, and we're not recording just yet, but we've started rehearsing some new material, which is going really well. It's in a similar vein to a progression from the last two albums. It's a bit of a mix of the two similar styles. Pete's writing is very much of the Trojan style, a little bit more so than the Talion, but there are elements of both bands in there. We've got about 5 or 6 tunes already on the go at the moment, and the hope is to record them and put them out as a new album if we can, with a bit of luck. Pete's got lots and lots of riffs, and he just keeps throwing riffs at us and saying, come on guys, what have we got, him and Graham are very good at coming up with lyrics and all that, so they just bring the stuff to the fore, and we just put together what we've got and see how it goes. But we've got 4 definites at the moment, with another 2 in the working at the moment. So it's all aiming towards hopefully another album under the name of Trojan.
Because the world has obviously massively changed as far as the music industry since back in the 80s, early 90s. Previously in the 80s, 90s, you could go in the recording studio, record label would be able to pick that up for you. You put your albums out, you could sell it at our price or HMV, and it'd be out there for £10, and you'd make a percentage of that, and you'd be great. It'd be a good deal, and you'd look at the charts. But nowadays, everything is streaming platforms, where you're lucky if you make a penny on a stream, if you're very lucky. So have you guys sort of looked at the differences of how you're going to have to go about this differently to what you would have had to do back in the 80s and 90s as far as pushing this out? Are you going to do it as a self-release? Are you recording an album and putting it out as one go? Are you thinking maybe doing a few songs, putting them out as singles on the streaming platforms? Have you had this sort of discussion and chat about it?
Not a massive discussion about it, but Pete definitely wants us to go down the route of getting in a studio and get them recorded, and then see where it will take us from there, really, I guess. You're going to end up having to do streaming, I think, at some point, because that's just seems to be the thing on it. But to have a product in your hand there's nothing better, is there, really?
No, exactly.
You need it out as a product, so we want it really as a product, not just as the streaming thing. Because we're old school at the end of the day, aren't we? We're all old school, and we still think that should be the way to go. I mean, I'm still buying CDs by bands who are releasing, and I'm buying the coloured vinyls or whatever, because it's all coming back again, isn't it? So
I mean,
that's the case,
anyone over the age of about 30 still likes a physical product. We find because the streaming kicked in about 2012 roughly was when the big streaming platforms really got into their sort of like Spotify's and stuff like that. I'm very much a album guy. I like a whole album. I don't mind a couple of singles, and then I want the whole album. I'm not one of these guys that likes every month a new single, and then they give you an album at the end of it. Like goes, oh, there's the 8 songs that we just did a single of. There's the album. I'm like, well, what's the point of? I want to digest. I want to sit and put it on and listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm very much
tell me a story.
Yeah. I think what we have noticed as well is there's a lot of people when we played at Keep It True in Germany. There was a signing session, and a lot of people were there to get us to sign things. There was a lot of people of a similar age to ourselves who'd seen the band back in Bulgaria and over in Eastern Europe back in the late 80s. But then when we go playing on the gig, there was a lot of people who were really young, much younger than we are, and they were singing along to the album. And I said to the guy, I said, did you see these people at the front? I said, I don't think they were even born when that album came out. They're singing all the lyrics. How good is that? You know. And I spoke to somebody and I said, you weren't born then, were you? You weren't born in 85. And she says, no, I was a 90s child. I said, how do you know all these albums? Just the stuff I'm listening to at the moment. I'm loving it, you know. And there was a few other people. So there is a bit of a resurgence for the new wave of British heavy metal at the moment.
I think there is. That's the one thing about streaming platforms is you get these playlists. Yeah. And if you get yourself shuffled in with a load of other people, people do discover. I'm an advocate where you should only put a couple of tracks on playlists or on Spotify, and then keep the rest to CD only or digital download, because you've got to make some money on it. You're going to spend so much money.
Oh, you have to. Yeah. You've
got to try and make some money back. You can't just give away everything for free.
And the reissues have helped, that's for certain. Because as far as I'm aware, they've sold really well on the reissues around the world. They're out on sale in Brazil as well. Pete got us the deal with Helium Records in Brazil to reissue. So it went out over in South America. So yeah, you can buy them not only in Europe, you can get them in South America as well.
And have you put them out on vinyl, have you, or you just on CD?
They're on vinyl, a gatefold sleeve vinyl, and they're on double disc CD. On the double disc CD, they've got a live Trojan and a live to Lion.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, a bootleg live thing. Yeah,
that's very cool.
Pretty good. Yeah. I can't remember where exactly they're from. Over in Eastern Europe. People tell you if he was here now, you'd know exactly.
Well, I'm sure if you do a search for it, you'll probably find it somewhere online. You'll find the website somewhere.
Yeah. That's actually, it's in front of me now, the Talion album.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's on a reissued with a sleeve.
Oh, yeah.
That's a double disc one. The Talion and the Trojan one is the same as that. I don't have that right to hand at the moment, but the vinyl ones, they came out as a red vinyl and a double coloured green for the Talion album. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah, it's a bit of a collector's issue at the moment.
Well, that's what you want it to be.
Yeah.
So last question: what have you got? Have you got any more shows coming up that people can keep an eye out for? Or
next year we're booked to play Headbangers Open Air in Germany, which is 25th to the 27th of July. I think we play on the 26th, but we're on there on the poster, so we're playing that. And we are looking at a few other European festivals at the moment. We're in talks with a few other people to confirm up some dates for more European gigs. So yes, we are looking at what is on offer for us for next year. Yeah. But Headbangers Open Air is a confirmed one. And again, like I say, 25th to the 27th of July. Yeah, next year.
Excellent. Well, all I can say is a big thank you for taking some time to have a chat with me about what's going on.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Yeah.
And for everyone at home, make sure you go out if you're interested in getting some of these collector's editions, if you like, or the vinyls or the double discs. I'm sure I'll try and find a link beforehand and post it on the video below.
Facebook page. There might be a link on our Facebook page somewhere. And of course, there's t-shirts now. We have merchandise.
Merchandise, we like it.
We got merchandise. Yes.
Buy the merch. That's the best way of helping bands out. Buy merch. That's the best.
We have a link on our website for the merchandise. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'll put all the links in the detailed description down below in the video, so make sure you check it out. And for everyone back home, just a big thank you, as I said today. Thank you very much for watching, and please do like, share, and subscribe. And for everyone at home, please take care.
Cheers, pal.